Welcome. If you're getting ready for your international marketing exam, well, you are in exactly the right place. In this session, we're going to completely master the core frameworks of international research. And my goal isn't just to explain these concepts to you, it's to give you a really clear, structured way to remember and apply them so you can walk into that exam and confidently answer any question that comes your way. So, here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off with the why and the how of research. This is the foundation for any global strategy. Then, we'll build out a checklist of exactly what you need to research. After that, we'll tackle the toughest variable of all, culture, using a really powerful framework. And, of course, we'll wrap it all up with a quick-fire revision to make sure these frameworks are totally locked in. All right, let's dive into our first section, the fundamentals of research. You have to think of international marketing research as the absolute bedrock of global expansion. Seriously, it's not just some good idea. It is the essential, non-negotiable first step for any company that wants to succeed in a foreign market. So, what is it really? Well, you can see the formal definition here, but think of it like this. It's the systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information. It's basically the formal, objective homework a company must do before ever setting foot in a new country. You know, a company like Tata Motors would never, ever launch a car in a new market without first digging into consumer needs, what the competition is doing, and all the local rules. That disciplined, systematic process, that is international marketing research. But why is it so critical? I mean, it's a fundamental question, right? And the answer is actually pretty simple. Without doing this rigorous research, a company is basically navigating blindfolded in a complex, unfamiliar, and often unforgiving global market. The risks, both financial and to their reputation, are just way too high to wing it. This slide right here shows you exactly why this research is so essential. These 6 points, this is the core of it. This is what you need to remember. You do research to understand consumers, to spot new opportunities, to manage risk, to size up the competition, to build a winning strategy, and to navigate all the legal requirements. So commit these 6 to memory: consumers, opportunities, risk, competition, strategy, and requirements. Okay, so we've nailed down why research is critical. Now let's shift our focus to how it's actually done. The research process follows a really clear, logical sequence of steps. This framework is fundamental, and it's going to provide the perfect structure for your exam answer on this topic. And here it is, the 5-step process. This is a universal framework in marketing research. Just look at the logical flow. You start by precisely defining the problem. Then, step 2, you develop a detailed research plan. Step 3 is all about collecting the data, and that includes both secondary data, which is research that's already out there, and primary data, which is new information you gather yourself. In step 4, you analyze all that data to find the hidden insights. And finally, in step 5, you report your findings and make a clear, data-driven decision. Just remember that sequence: problem, plan, collect, analyze, and decide. Okay, moving on to our second section. Now we're asking, what specifically should we even be researching? This 7-point checklist is pure gold. It covers the essential criteria you absolutely must analyze for any foreign market. Mastering this list is going to be crucial for a top-tier answer. Here they are, the 7 key research criteria. You've got to be able to list and explain every single one of these. They are the market size and growth, the economic environment, cultural and social factors, the political and legal environment, the competitive landscape, the country's infrastructure and technology, and finally, consumer demographics. Go ahead and commit this list to memory right now. Now, let's just take one of those criteria, the political and legal environment, to see why this analysis is so important. As this slide shows so clearly, a stable environment with predictable rules, well, that builds business confidence and attracts investment. But an unstable environment, it does the exact opposite, creating just unacceptable levels of risk. This is precisely the kind of deep analysis you need to do for all 7 of those criteria. And to help you remember these 7 points in order, use this little memory cue. It's a logical flow. Start big with the overall market, then zoom in on the economy. Then you analyze the people, the culture, and the rules, the politics. From there, you check out the competition and infrastructure, and finally, you focus on the specific target demographics. See? Market, economy, culture, politics, competition, infrastructure, demographics. Use that flow to structure your answer. Now for our third section, where we focus on what is often the most complex and tricky variable in international marketing: culture. How in the world can we systematically analyze something so nuanced? Well, we use a powerful analytical tool known as Hofstede's framework for cultural dimensions. This quote from the social psychologist Geert Hofstede really hits home, doesn't it? It highlights the critical challenge of culture. But his incredible, groundbreaking research gives us a tool to move beyond just vague descriptions and to systematically measure and compare national cultures across a set of clear dimensions. This table right here is your key to mastering Hofstede's framework. You must be able to recall these 6 dimensions. They are power distance, which is all about how a society deals with inequality; individualism, which is about the I versus the we; masculinity, which looks at drivers like competition versus cooperation; uncertainty avoidance, or how much a culture dislikes ambiguity; long-term orientation, which is about focusing on the future versus the past; and finally, indulgence, which relates to the gratification of human desires.
And here's a perfect practical example of how these dimensions directly impact marketing strategy. Just look at individualism versus collectivism. In a highly individualistic culture like the US, an ad might focus on personal achievement, a phone designed for you. But in a collectivistic culture like South Korea, the whole appeal shifts to group harmony, a phone to connect your family. You see how that underlying cultural dimension completely dictates the marketing message? It's fascinating.
So the huge takeaway here is this: there is no one-size-fits-all global strategy. It just doesn't work. Effective marketing must be adapted to the local culture. So be ready to list these 6 dimensions of Hofstede's framework as your analytical tool: power distance, individualism, masculinity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term orientation, and indulgence.
All right, let's shift gears and move into our final section, a rapid revision. We're going to quickly recall the key frameworks we've covered. This is all about locking them into your memory for the exam. Let's do it.
First up, the research process. Can you recall the 5 steps? Let's go. Define the problem, develop the plan, collect data, analyze data, and finally, report and decide. Got it? Next, those 7 key research criteria. What are they? It's market, economy, culture, politics, competition, infrastructure, and demographics. And remember that logical flow we talked about to help you recall them in order? And finally, Hofstede's 6 cultural dimensions. Let's name them. We've got power distance, individualism versus collectivism, masculinity versus femininity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term versus short-term orientation, and indulgence versus restraint. Mastering these 3 frameworks is going to show a really deep, comprehensive understanding of this topic. And that concludes our focused review. I'll just leave you with one final question to think about. In our super hyper-connected, globalized world, which of Hofstede's dimensions do you think are changing the most rapidly? It's a critical question for the future of international marketing. I wish you the absolute best of luck with your studies. You've got this.